We're going to move on to the next college football game, which was Oregon beating Texas Tech 22 to nothing in a game that was not close in the slightest. And the one thing, like for the lean in, I'll just say this. Football is a very simple game. It comes down to blocking, tackling, and quarterback play. And two out of those three things, Texas Tech excels at. They're elite for college football. And then the third thing, which was quarterback play, they're average, maybe a slightly above average. And we've expressed our concerns on Baron Morton all season long. I even went as far to say I liked Will Hammond more, their backup in some of those spots, because I thought he gave them a little more explosivity and a little more playmaking. Obviously he was getting pressure in his face a lot of the game. They didn't run the ball insanely effectively, besides one kind of cat buster run. But dude, he looked extremely uncomfortable and he was inaccurate all game long to the flat, which is some of the easier throws. Like he wasn't very good, and I do think Oregon's edge Oregon's edge duo is not as prolific as what Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor are, but they're two NFL edge players on the same football team, and that makes it really hard. And we're going to talk about this as we preview the Oregon and Indiana game, but they rely on those edges not just to rush the passer, but they stay in a lot of nickel, which means your edge players have to set the edge and make a lot of tackles, and they do that. So they're two Polynesian edges Mateo Uiagalelei and Tuioti. Those guys were really good too. And Oregon's offense was particularly weird in this game. Like they usually run the ball super effectively. They weren't able to do it. In my opinion, that's basically just because this Texas Tech defense is unbelievable. David Bailey, I think I texted Luke after the game. I think he's my favorite edge player in this class, including the two Oregon and Miami
Gonna be a
guys.
great Eagle.
Okay, relax. David Bailey, David Bailey is unbelievable. 9 tackles, a sack, 2 TFLs. The defense was awesome. And they also have that number 2 in the middle, that defensive lineman. He's also unbelievable. I have his name written down, but I kind of, what'd you say? Okay, never mind. And then my padlock stat for the game was Texas Tech receivers combined for 4 catches and 48 yards. And anytime that happens, like they have guys well over 600 yards, 3 of them, and they had 48 for this game.
My padlock stat of the game is the turnover differential. 4 for Texas Tech and 1 for Oregon. And when you're playing a team the quality of Oregon, no matter how good your defense is, and I think Texas, ooh, there's Arch. I think Texas Tech's defense played well enough in this game to potentially win, but they were just put in such disadvantageous positions the entire game. Oregon had such short fields. And you were mentioning it was kind of weird, Oregon's offensive approach to this game. I think at some point they probably realized as well, similar to the Miami and Texas A&M game, they know that they're going to be able to cause mistakes to the other team's offense and that they're going to be in good situations for the most part so that they don't have to be uber aggressive. They can kind of stick to a pretty simple game plan, and they know that a low point total is going to be able to win the game. And I think they played that way. They managed the ball effectively, and it's not the craziest offensive output by Oregon, but they definitely did enough to win. And like you're saying, it comes down to a difference in quarterback play, I think. And the way Texas Tech season was going to falter and go downhill was at the hands of Baron Morton. We've been saying that all year, and that's kind of what happened. And it looks like Texas Tech is immediately looking to ratify that issue by bringing in Brendan Sorsby. But it's a shame a team this good and by Texas Tech standards, pretty unique, and they don't usually have teams that they don't usually field teams at this level with one of the best defenses in the country. It's a shame they went out like this, but still an awesome season for them and setting the tone for they're probably going to be the class of the Big 12 from here on out. And this is kind of just the first step and the first building block for that.
I'll give two things about this game. I feel like there's really not that much to talk about. The first thing, so going into this game, I know like everyone has been saying Texas Tech's offense is horrible, their quarterback is terrible. Going into this game, granted, it was against Big 12 play. Texas Tech averaged 42 and a half points per game and around 480 yards per game. Obviously, they had 0 points in this game and just 215 yards. So I want to give a lot of credit to this Oregon defense because I think they're really sneakily elite. And that's not talked about as much because of that Indiana loss at home. And I think that there would be a lot different tune sung about this Oregon team and their defense had they not have lost that game, which I actually think is going to pay major dividends for them in this next game. And then lastly, not as serious of a note, but my nomination for best name in college football is going to be Atticus Sappington, the Oregon
Oh,
kicker, who is
unbelievable
also a
name.
beast. He went
Their
3 for 3
nickname
on
for him is
field goals.
Automaticus too,
Really?
which is just awesome.
Yeah, he's sick.
That's great stuff.
It's just such a sick name. And
Confirmed on the internet that he's named after Atticus Finch, To Kill a Mockingbird character.
is he actually?
Yeah, yeah,
That's insane.
yeah.
But that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this one. It was just
Hey, Lee Hunter. Lee Hunter is number 2, the defensive lineman for Texas Tech. Unbelievable as well. He's 330 pounds, moves like a dolphin out there. But yeah. And Caleb, you got anything on? You got any input on this matter?
I mean, I didn't hear before, but I assume it was kind of the same points.
Yep.
I kind of echo Duska's sentiment. Texas Tech's defense, like that's the reason I picked Texas Tech in this game, is I thought their defense was going to win it for them, and they honestly played. They played good enough, in my opinion, for them to win.
No doubt.
Their offense, like I know Sam referenced their Big 12 play, they were so reliant in Big 12 play. Like they're a very explosive offense. Like it's not methodical. It's big plays and explosive plays. And Oregon's defense is really good at stopping those all year. But I thought that was more to do with some of the teams Oregon played. But I mean, Oregon's defense came to play, and you can argue that was it them being good or Baron Morton being horrific. But I mean, Oregon did enough to win this game, and like y'all were mentioning with their offensive, like their style, I think I kind of echo what Chuck said about they knew what kind of game they could play, and they didn't need to go out of their way. Texas Tech was going to handle it for them.
Yeah.
I think
One.
I think both can be true. Real quick, I think both can be true on Baron Morton played horrible, but he was also put in situations to play horrible by Oregon's defense.
Yeah. I mean, one other guy I want to mention is Brandon Finney Jr. We talked about him a ton on the pod early in the year, again, especially in the Iowa game. He made a couple really big plays for Oregon in that rain slugfest. And dude, he was unbelievable in this game as well. He had two interceptions, a fumble recovery and a pick. He was making big plays. He was locked down on the outside for Oregon, which just gives them another really good defensive back. They have him. They have 2 safeties, Aaron Flowers and Dylan Thieneman, that are amazing. And then they have him at corner, Brandon Finney Jr., who's just a freshman, 19-year-old kid, and he flies around out there. So Oregon, a team to reckon with going forward. Sam, we'll get into that later. I'm going to give you the floor later in that on Oregon.